AV in your ears. That's Ambush Being, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my voice, Steve, Fascination Street. You already know. Let's get it. When you whip in the Fascination Street, what do you see?
This is Bobbie Brown, and you are listening to Fascination Street Podcast.
Yeah, AV in your ears. That's Ambush Being, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my voice, Steve, Fascination Street. You already know. Let's get it. When you whip in the Fascination Street, what do you see?
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with MTV video vixen Bobbie Brown. You know her from Great White's Once Bitten Twice Shy videos, Terrence Trent D'Arby videos, and especially Warrant's video for that song, Cherry Pie. In this episode, we talk about those things and so much more. We talk about her time on Star Search, where she won a record 13 times in a row. We talk about her moving from Louisiana to Los Angeles and why, some of the things that she was told she needed to do to be taken seriously in that city, in that profession, and what her reaction was to those things. We talk a little bit about a couple of her relationships. Yes, she was married to Jani Lane, the singer of Warrant, for a while. They have a child together. And she was also engaged for a little while to Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. We talk a little bit about those two relationships, not a ton. We talk more, obviously, about Jani Lane and her relationship with him and some of the struggles that they went through. We also touch on a couple of fascinating events that happened in her life, including some roles that she was asked to audition for, even an early encounter with Orenthal James Simpson himself. Bobbie Brown has written 2 best-selling books, including Dirty Rocker Boys, which was named number 41 of the best 50 rock memoirs of all time by Rolling Stone. We do talk about her 3rd book, which is basically a part 3 of her memoir. It picks up on her life from COVID to basically right now, and it talks about her journey to finding Jesus and the impact of the Holy Spirit and how that has manifested in her life. Bobbie was such a delight to talk to. I'm so grateful for her generosity of time and spirit. She was vulnerable in this episode. She talked about some personal things, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you, Bobbie. I appreciate it. And this is my conversation with the MTV queen herself, Bobbie Brown.
Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Bobbie Brown. What's up?
Hey, how are you?
I am fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. You heard me. It is that Bobbie Brown, the one that everybody knows, not the one who did all the bad stuff with Whitney Houston, but the cool one. And we are going to get to know her right now. Bobbie, what I like to do is I like to start the show by talking about, kind of where you grew up and how you were born and raised, because it kind of helps us understand how you got from where you were to where you are. So where were you born and raised? Where'd you grow up?
In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, deep south. I lived here, grew up here, and moved away at 17 and then lived in California for 36 years. So I guess I grew up more there years-wise, but I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and now I'm back here again.
So how come you don't have an accent? Like, how come you're not saying Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Well, it's funny. When I moved to LA, they were like, you're really going to have to lose that twang. You're going to have to lose that accent. And I was like, oh, okay. So I worked really hard at it, but sometimes it'll come out here and there on certain words. I've never stopped saying y'all. Oh,
well, you should never stop saying y'all. Everybody needs to say y'all. The people who say you all, I don't have time for them.
Literally, right? So, yeah, I still say y'all. That's it.
I didn't realize what a big deal y'all was until we moved to Louisville, Kentucky for about a year and a half. And when I first got there and I, go into stores or restaurants or whatever, and I would say y'all, and they would just look at me like, where are you from? And I was like, why would you ask that? And they were like, we don't say y'all. I was like, what do y'all say? And they're like, we say you all. And I was like, but why? That's dumb. I hate
it. It's so funny. It's such a staple of the South. And when people are surprised by it, I don't know what they're thinking. Are they thinking we're stupid or we are?
Yeah, they think we're hillbillies.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's okay.
That's definitely, yeah, I'm okay with that because we have thoughts about them too. So there.
Right.
Okay, so you're growing up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What was the plan? What did you want to be when you grew up?
So the plan was I didn't love school. I wasn't a dedicated scholar by any means. I was often told I was good at being pretty, which to some people was like, oh, how rude. But I took it as like, okay, well, I'm going to use that. And I used to take magazines and look at all the models, and I would kind of practice in the mirror, doing poses, because in my mind, I was going to make it, even though I wasn't like 5'10" or
How tall are you?
I used to be 5'8", but since aging, I've lost like almost 2 inches. I had osteoporosis of the pelvis, so I've lost some height.
Of the pelvis. I never
Yeah.
even knew that was a thing. I always thought it was like in the spine, but you got
Yeah.
it in the pelvis.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Is it painful?
No. I mean, it just goes with like being a girl. Like I would have never known that unless my daughter was like, oh my gosh, I'm like so tall. I'm so much taller than you now. I'm like, that's crazy. How's that even possible? And I remember the doctor telling me like I had osteoporosis in that area, but I just was like, with all the things women go through, you
Right.
never really know what's okay and what's not. So I was just like, oh, it's just another thing that women get.
Yeah, you never know what's normal.
Right, right.
That makes
So I
sense.
was just like, okay, cool. But they never said like, oh, you're going to start losing height early or anything. But yeah, my daughter loves to rub that in because she's actually taller than me now.
Is there anything they can do about it? Is there any treatment, or they're
No,
just like, take
no,
it
and
easy?
it doesn't feel like anything. So you know what I mean?
Wow.
It doesn't feel like anything. I kind of did everything early too, like female wise. Like I got menopause early. All this stuff happened late in the beginning and early towards the end. So
late bloomer,
I was a late bloomer.
but then you got all the bad stuff early.
Yeah. Yeah.
How lucky are you?
Super lucky. Super lucky. I know. I call it, I have the most fun. People just don't get what kind of fun this is. It's so much fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
So you always wanted to be a model?
I did.
That was your whole thing?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be a model and hit up some New York agents. I wasn't tall enough for that, but I got a lot of feedback from LA agents. So then as soon as I graduated high school, I moved to Hollywood.
So at what point in this ride were you Miss Louisiana Teen USA?
When I was a senior in high school, so that would be 1987.
And what made you decide to even enter that? And did you do like the whole circuit, or was it just the one thing? Like, how did that manifest?
Super weird. Never been in pageants, never had a desire to be in pageants. Walking through the mall, and the director of Miss Louisiana Teen approached me. And I guess the pageant was within like the next 5 days, say.
Oh,
and the
wow.
guy comes up to me and he's like, oh my gosh, I need to recruit you. You need to enter my pageant. And I was like, I don't know. So I hit my mom up and she was like, okay, let's do it. Like, why not? And I ended up winning.
And you said this was 1987?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I ended up winning and then going to nationals. So I was a senior in high school and I was second place in the top 5. So I didn't win, but I was not the first runner up, but second.
So would that be for Miss Teen USA?
Yes.
So you were Miss, like you won the Louisiana Teen USA, but then you were runner up for Teen USA?
Miss Teen USA. Yeah, correct.
Who won?
Mississippi.
Huh.
Yeah.
You don't really think of the people that win those as being Southerners. I mean, I think they should be, but I'm always imagining New York and LA are going to win this thing all the time.
Yeah, no.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
good for us down south.
Exactly. So I think it was a top 5 question, when the guy's like, so what do you want to do when you grow up? I think was my question, vaguely how he put that. And I announced that I wanted to be a model. So from that stage, I got some interest, and then I went out to Hollywood from there.
Do you think if you had said you wanted to heal the world and end all the wars and thus and such, that you would have won?
I don't think so. I was also really just too goofy and very honest. Like, I'm just a very honest person. Like I said, I wasn't like equipped of having like pageant training, because that to me reeks pageant training. You know what I mean? I had 0 pageant training. So I was just going to go out there and be myself and answer honestly, because you don't know what they're going to ask you. But if I would have said that, somebody had been like, oh, she was told to say that, because
right.
Who thinks like that? What senior in high school is like, I'm going to heal the world and stop world hunger? And
exactly.
Yeah. A very trained pageant girl would say that.
Yeah, those are all, they even come across as bullshit whenever you hear those crazy answers. You're just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what? Come on now.
You're like,
Do
really?
you even know what some of those words mean? Like, relax.
Yeah, go girl. You do that.
Okay, so your plan was to become an actress and you didn't get a much interest in New York, but LA you did.
Yeah, so I wasn't really planning to be an actress. I really just wanted to be a model.
Did I say actress? I really meant model. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay because it ended up happening. I ended
Well, it
up
did.
being both, but that's what I wanted to be. That's how it kind of went down. I got with an agency and then just moved out to Hollywood by myself. And then my boyfriend ended up moving out there, but he couldn't hack it. And we broke up.
He couldn't hack the LA scene, or he couldn't hack how much attention you were getting?
The second part of that, and was insanely violently jealous. And that was new for me. Yeah. So then that ended tragically. He burned my portfolio and took all the money out of my bank account.
That seems to be a trend in your life. That seems to happen to you a lot. The second part of that.
Yeah.
We might get to that. We might not.
Okay.
So you moved to LA.
Yep.
You had a modeling company, but did you have any jobs when you moved to LA, or did you just move out there to be closer to your company?
Didn't have any jobs yet. Moved out there, got with the agency, started doing test shoots to build my portfolio, which I did, and then they ended up being burned. But by that point, I had started working. So I worked actually probably a week after I joined the agency, which was kind of crazy because I never had to get like a part-time job. Like I never struggled in the industry.
Right.
It started with a rock video for MTV.
Sure. Oh, real quick, since you brought up MTV, we just should have a moment of silence because as we record this, last week MTV announced that December 31st, 2025, they will no longer exist. So,
wow.
Farewell, MTV.
It's been a nice ride.
Bye-bye, MTV. Yeah. Some had a better ride than others.
True.
If I understand this correctly, your modeling company, when you first got to LA, said you needed some surgical procedures before you would be taken seriously as a model. Is that true?
Yes.
Do you mind telling everybody what those procedures were that they suggested and how you took that? How did you take that?
Really casually, just like, okay, yeah. So if you watch the Hurricane video, which is the first booking I ever had.
And what was the name of that band?
Hurricane, I'm On to You is the video.
Okay.
You can see at the end, the last frame, I turned my head to the right. I had like a little bump on my nose and I was flat chested. And they said I needed to get that fixed and encouraged me to get implants because California was more of that vibe as opposed to, New York editorial. And so I was just like, okay, cool. And did it.
And you were just okay with all that? And who paid for that, them or you?
I think my mom paid for that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How was that conversation? Hey, Mom.
She was fine with it. I flew home and did it here. And
really?
Yep.
Why didn't you do it in LA where they do it all the time?
Well, because she, knew the doctors and stuff here.
That's a good reason.
Yeah. She didn't know who would we know to go to. And so she was just like so supportive of this new venture that she was like, okay, let's do that. So we did that. It did help. It did work.
Sure. So the Hurricane video, that was your first one, your first rock video. And then that was one before you had these surgery. Okay.
Yep.
From there, you auditioned for Star Search. Is that right? Was that just a regular audition?
Yeah. Just a regular audition. Basically, my agent was like, hey, do you want to do Star Search? And I was like, sure. She's like, okay, cool. Go to meet this person at this address. I think it was Gower Studios at the time. And I went and they were like, oh, cool. We love you. Like, you're going to be on Star Search. And I was like, all right. It was super chill and easy. And then I did Star Search.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Star Search was a talent show. It was on TV for many, many years, and they had a bunch of different categories. Yeah. They had stand-up comedy. They had musicians. Specifically, for the purposes of this conversation, they had the spokesmodel category.
Right.
You are not the first person that I had who was one of the spokesmodel winners.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you ever, I'm sure you did, those Bill and Ted movies?
Yes.
The woman who played the stepmom, Missy, her name is Amy Stotch. Huh. She was a winner of, she might even be one of the ones you beat.
I wouldn't remember. I know I beat 13 people and then lost the final shows.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Bobbie Brown won a record 13 times in a row on Star Search, more than anybody else in any category. However, she made it all the way to like the final championship thing or whatever, where there was $100,000 up for grabs.
Yeah.
And then they brought in somebody who had already lost previously. And then, shall we say, maybe some palms might have been greased or something.
Yeah, the shadiness of it all.
The shadiness.
There was some shady details about that surfaced after that debacle. But you know what? God was in control. I guess he had an idea and had a path laid out for me, and I just had to accept it.
God did have a path for you because it was from those appearances on Star Search that your career really took off. So I'm glad you didn't win that $100,000 because maybe things would have been differently and your path might have diverged.
Right.
A young man named Jani Lane, he saw you on the Star Search.
Yep.
And he told his people, get me her people.
Yes. Let my people reach out to your people.
And so the reason that he did that is because he wanted you to be a part of his music videos for his band Warrant.
Yes.
Now, you did some things with White Snake before that, right? It was before Warrant?
Not White Snake, Great White.
I'm sorry, Great White.
Okay.
Yes, so Great White. So you did Once Bitten, Twice Shy, and House of Broken Love. You were in those videos, but were you also on the album covers?
Yes.
Okay. So was that also an audition that happened?
That was an audition, and I remember, I think I had been in town for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the director of the video wrote on my 8x10, and he actually wrote about it online. This is how I know the detail, because somebody was like, hey, did you read that thing the director wrote about you for hiring you for Great White? I'm like, no. And so I saw him write something about it. Maybe it was a blog, or I don't know what it was, but he writes about how there was a stack of 8x10s of all the girls who were auditioning. And then on my picture, he wrote, just in town for 2 weeks. And he took a screenshot of that picture and posted it with this blog. And he said he played a game with the guys in the band, and he handed them all of the 8x10s and said, y'all pick who you think would be great for this. And I guess they all picked me out of however hundreds of 8x10s they were given to pick from. So he says that he in his heart wanted me for it, but he wanted to be like, who do you guys think? Before I say who I want to pick. They all picked me. So it was like unanimous.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until many years later. Nobody ever told me until I read that online.
That's a really sweet thing to find out later. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a small clip of my new favorite podcast. It's called Party Nerds Popcast, with recent previous guest Robert Carradine and his buddy and co-host Richard Gabai. This clip is from their episode with the great John Carpenter. Check it out.
First time we worked together was on Body Bags. And the penultimate moment in that story for me was to have the lift for the automobile come down and squish me. You were trying to figure out how to do that without actually squishing me. And then I came up with an idea, why don't we get a couple of those cinder blocks over there and I'll just lay down and you get your guy with the Hudson sprayer to spray a bunch of blood out like I got squished. Do you remember that?
I remember what you're talking about. See, I wasn't so concerned about how to do it. I just wanted to drop it on you. But, you started talking about how to survive that shot. I remember it clearly, Bob. We were out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because it was supposedly a deserted gas station.
Yeah, which it actually was.
We built it, Bobbie.
Oh, I thought that was...
Again, guys, it's called Party Nerds Popcast and is available everywhere you get podcasts.
Let's get back into it.
Then from Great White, and maybe the line is a little bit different, but after Great White, you did a Terrence Trent D'Arby video. Is that right?
I did. I did a Terrence Trent D'Arby video. I did a lot of videos, I feel like.
You did do a lot of videos.
Louie video. I did Terrence Trent D'Arby. I did ×2, Great White, Hurricane. Then I did Cherry Pie. I feel like Cherry Pie was the last rock video I ever did. It was. Yeah.
Well, it's because it couldn't be topped. It's the most iconic video. So you peaked at greatness and then you moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without numbers, because I don't care about that. But with TV and film, there are royalties. Are there royalties with music videos, or were there at the time?
No, unfortunately not. That would have been great, right?
So you just got your fee and then that was it?
That was it. Yep.
Were they lucrative? Did they pay well, each one of those things? Did they get progressively better?
It did get progressively better. So I would say it was around 300 and something. And then I feel like Cherry Pie paid way more. It was like closer to 1,000 when I did that video.
I'm sorry, did you say closer to 1,000, like $1,000?
Yes.
And that was the high end?
Yes. They paid not great, but
Sure.
it was always like, but the exposure. And I'm like, okay.
Sure.
But still, that was more money than, I was making in my, high school job at the club, checking people in at a gym. Yeah, I was a receptionist at a gym in Louisiana and then went to LA. So to make $300 something in a day to me was like, wow.
Yeah. And I mean, folks listening, this is late 80s, early 90s. You could buy 3, 4, 5 times more back then with $1 than you can now. That was a lot more money than it sounds like.
Yeah.
So then you meet Jani.
Yeah.
He reaches out because he sees you on Star Search and he's like, that's who I want in my video.
Mm-hmm.
And you did how many videos for Warrant?
Just the one.
Oh, nice. Now, at a certain point, you guys became romantically involved. Like, was that during the shoot? Did it was just as a part of, and now that y'all know each other, y'all kind of started seeing each other? Like, how did that manifest?
I was in a relationship with Matthew Nelson when I shot that video. And Jani was in pursuit of me on the video, regardless of that. And I was, a loyal girl. So I was like, no, thank you. Thanks for the flowers type of thing. And yes, I would see him out and I treated him like a friend. Things did not work out between Matthew and I. And as soon as we broke up, I had remained friends with Joey from Warrant's wife, Kathy. And we still talked and we were still friends. And I let her know, like, oh, yeah, Matthew and I just broke up. And literally 4 minutes later, my phone was ringing and it was Jani. Literally, like within 4 minutes. He was like, oh, hey. I'm like, wow, okay. Hey. And he had already gone on like Howard Stern and said, sorry, Matthew, I'm in love with your girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm in love with your girlfriend. Sorry. I can't make her mine one day. Like he just went public full steam. He didn't care. And he was very adamant about his pursuit of me and he won.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would imagine that this was a whirlwind romance with maybe some ups and downs and some passion and maybe some difficult times. How long were you guys actually married?
We were actually married a little over 3 years. We dated before we got married about a year. So I would say on and off, mostly on for almost 6 years.
Gotcha.
But we ended up going our separate ways because we both had addiction problems. His problem led him to also have cheating issues. And that's not something I was tolerating from any relationship. So that's when, I went my separate way.
Yeah, I heard that you weren't just not tolerating it in your relationship, but you were not tolerating it in other people's relationships. Like you would tell the band, look, hey, if y'all are going to do this, don't do it around me because I will tell.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Yes.
And you and Jani had a baby together. Yeah.
Yes.
And she is the best thing that ever happened to you, is so I'm told.
Yes, she is the best thing I've ever done, for sure.
How was it for her growing up with these parents? You guys are the face of MTV.
Yeah, so we weren't the parents we really wanted to be.
Nobody is, by the way.
Yeah.
I have children and we're never who we think we're going to be. We're never the parent we want to be. So Let yourself off the hook for that one for sure.
Yeah, so we loved her, but we had, we had our own crazy aspirations, and it was not a normal lifestyle we were all living. We also had our struggles with each other and with substances.
So was his substance, and again, anything that you don't want to tell me, just don't tell me and I'll pull it out. So was his substance of choice alcohol, or was it more than that?
No, it was just alcohol.
And yours was?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Was the cocaine because your modeling company wanted to keep you thin?
Yes. That went from me doing cocaine to meth. So that moved into meth because of the weight loss was quicker and more obvious. But then I overdid, obviously. Like, you can't eat 3 times a month and, keep any weight on.
Sure.
But the agency was fine with it until, I'm doing something for Cosmopolitan and they're like, whoa, she doesn't even fit in any of the clothes.
When all the clothes are too big, then it's an eye-opener for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, it became a problem when I got too thin. Like I was, 5'8", weighing in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they were like, okay. But, I didn't go into the agency every day, so they weren't really clocking the weight. They were just cool with it being low.
Sure.
Until, I'm not making them any money for being too thin. Then that's, I'm going to get a talking to. But, they didn't really care that I was an addict.
Yeah, when it gets hard for them to book you and get their piece, then they're like, now hold on, what's going on here?
Right.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
During all of this, you got a record contract?
I did, yeah.
From what I understand, you got to keep the advance, but the label dropped you?
Yes.
What happened? And where's that album? Did they keep it?
No, they were looking for a Britney Spears. She's also from Louisiana, and they thought they were going to get me. It was the same label. They signed me. They wanted to have that type of artist. And I was just too screwed up. I was just like too on drugs. Like I went in the studio. I was able to do a couple things, but I wasn't reliable. And then I got pregnant and was with Jani. And he had a real issue with it too. Like he was just like, you have no idea. I've been walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard with my acoustic guitar over my shoulder for the past 2 years. And like, you just get a call and now you have a record deal. Like, how's that even fair?
That a little bit sounds like your boyfriend who went to LA with you, who was like, hey, what's going on? Why are you getting all popular?
Yeah, literally. I'll say that no guy, no matter who it was, liked what I did for work.
Yeah. The attention that you were getting.
They love it in the beginning and then they want to control it and hate it secretly, or they feel like it's a competition when it really wasn't. It just made things awkward always. Me on the receiving end of some BS that I had nothing to do with.
Sure. Being outshined does a horrible thing to our egos.
I suppose. I mean, I guess,
Sure. Yeah.
I was in it, but I guess I did get an ego eventually, but it was always just fake. In LA, you have to fake it to make it.
Sure. And sometimes the people in LA just stay fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the music that was being recorded or whatever, was this music that was written already and brought to you?
Yeah.
And was it like poppy style in the Britney Spears way?
Yes. They took me to a place to see if I could dance, and I could. And then they dropped my contract. She was signed right after that. But yeah, that's what they were looking for.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you got to keep the advance. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with a couple of weird questions because I feel like it's all around in the same time frame when you were kind of blowing up while you were also maybe on a couple of substances.
Okay.
There was one time where this one guy said, well, don't you look pretty? And I believe that guy's name was Orenthal James Simpson. When did you meet OJ?
Yes. Okay. So can't remember the name of the bar, but it was a very VIP club that Jack Nicholson's girlfriend, who was also an actress, and I can't think of her name, Angelica Houston. I think that's who it was. Helena's. I think it was called. Yes, it was called Helena's. And I was living in the model house. I think I'd only been in LA, not even a month. This is before the boyfriend ever moved out. So there was a model house that had like all new people living there. So everybody was like my age, younger, mid-20s. And there's like a mansion type house where we could walk to the modeling agency. And there was like 18 of us living in this house.
So this is like the Playboy Mansion, but without the Playboys.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of hot girls living in this house all together.
Girls and guys.
Oh, guys too.
Yes.
Okay.
Just models who just
Right.
got signed, who didn't have their own apartment yet and had no place to live. We were all at this one house. And I remember the lady who worked at the agency also lived there. I say lady, but she was probably like 22. To me, she was a lady. She was like, oh, we're all going to Helena's tonight, everybody. Like, put on your cutest or sexiest outfit or whatever, and we're all going to go in. And so I remember I had a black and white striped tank mini dress and got dressed and had never, tried to be at a club in LA for sure. We all walked in, walked straight to the front of the line and got let in right away.
Sure.
Like we didn't have to wait in line or do that whole thing. Obviously, because this girl's like bringing, some pretty faces to this club. And I guess that was just okay. So we get in and everybody's a celebrity. Like you're seeing celebrities everywhere. I didn't know anybody. I'm just sitting at a table, like probably standing out like a sore thumb because I wasn't even old enough to be in that club. I think I got up to go get a drink and he walked up to me and said what you just repeated. I didn't even really know who he was, because I wasn't a sports person. And then it wasn't until I sat back down and the person was like, oh my God, you were talking to OJ Simpson? I was like, I don't even know who that is.
Love it.
They were like, he's so famous and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. But there was an energy about him that I just was like,
Little creepy put off energy.
I don't know. It's probably the Holy Spirit going, nope, don't do that.
Yeah, it probably was. The good Lord was like, nah, just go back to your seat, girly girl.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was the Holy Spirit at the time, obviously. I
Sure.
went through a phase where I listened to those inclinations, then a whole other season or seasons where I totally ignored that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm back to where I'm listening. But yeah, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know. I just, I wasn't swept up in it. And I also didn't know who he was. And I never really cared about who was famous. If anything, it got to a point where I would mock those people. I would just be bewildered by how much or how full of themselves those people would be when they would approach me and the things that they would say. And I would just be like, wow, that's so crazy.
That leads me to a quote that I heard you say a few years ago where you were talking about the kind of people who walk up to you and think they have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You said, and I quote, and this is one of my favorite things I've ever heard you say.
What?
You said, know your number, guys. What the fuck are you thinking?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I love that so much.
Wow.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back into it.
Okay, so back to that time period where you're kind of blowing up. Tell me about your Tinkerbell audition for the great Steven Spielberg.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you're setting me up because you already know the answer.
What?
Julia Roberts ended up getting the part. He really wanted me for the part, and I kept missing the audition because I was too screwed up on drugs. And when I finally did make it to the audition, I feel like they called me 3 or 4 times to go in and read for Steven Spielberg himself. And I think I ditched the first 3. I show up on the 4th, late, obviously messed up, clearly high, spinning in my chair. And he was just all, I'm not auditioning you. I just wanted to he was like, you're, impossible. You are intolerable. You're never going to make it in this space.
So he called you in to give you a stern talking to?
Yes, yeah. He didn't let me audition because he was like, basically just saying like, how dumb are you to screw this up?
To squander this opportunity? I'm Steven effing Spielberg.
Yeah, and I just kind of left the non-audition audition with my tail between my legs, feeling like, that was not good. That did not go well.
Did you take anything away from that?
Yeah.
Did it open your eyes to anything?
It did, but it didn't change the fact that I was such a bad drug addict coping with a lot of other things that have, happened in Hollywood that are sinister that, go around talking about. That will be in my 3rd book that I'm currently writing about, but it is the most triggering part of writing or talking about. So yeah, in the moment I was like, you know what? Yeah, I suck. Like, I don't know why I can't make myself, I was jealous of people who had a disciplined lifestyle. Like I had nobody telling me, be serious, take this serious, pull it together. Like nobody actually really cared that I was so screwed up. If I made it sometimes, I made it. Most of the times I would show up, if I was showing up on time, I booked the job. Like I was fully capable and should have been more focused, but I had no one to rein me in. You know what I mean? Like I was surrounded by yes people and people telling me what I wanted to hear all the time, never being completely honest with me. So when somebody finally would lean in and be like, hey, you're in the wrong here. You shouldn't be doing this. This is why. I was always so grateful, but that very rarely happened. But when that ever did happen, I would take that and actually apply it to my life because I was so unself-aware that I was just moving like I thought I should be, or could be, or it didn't matter, or, I didn't have to check in with anybody. Everybody was just basically letting me do whatever I wanted. And I was getting away with stuff and still succeeding, oddly enough, not as much as I would have had I, been on point or sober. But, I thought I was still cool. Like, yeah, it's all good. I can do whatever I want and I'll still get bookings. But, it did end up catching up with me, like that behavior. I did get a reputation.
Sure.
For being unreliable and all these reasons why, or, getting fired from this job for the, XYZ. And it was always related to drugs.
I feel like it's maybe because, no offense, but when you moved away from Baton Rouge, you were arguably still a child. And then the people around you who were meant to shepherd you the rest of the way to adulthood, they were in Louisiana, and then you're across the country,
and
moving to a strange city, which is just a den of thieves and sharks and wolves trying to get something from you.
Yes.
So I'm so sorry for all that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's okay.
Well, you turned out great. You're still here and you're still kicking it, so you win.
Yes.
Was the Scorsese Casino audition before or after the Steven Spielberg?
After.
Did you take it a little more seriously?
No, I was not even allowed to go audition, not by my own recognizance on this time. This is when I was engaged to Tommy Lee, and he was completely in control of my entire life in every capacity.
Do you just attract these people?
I guess. Like a moth to a flame, probably.
Sure. All right.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Kind of does. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Tommy Lee, of course, the drummer for Motley Crue.
Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to go on that audition. And then Robert De Niro actually called Tommy to, try and talk to him about letting me come in to do this audition. And he was not having it. So yeah, I never ended up going in on that audition, but they really wanted me for the role that Sharon Stone ended up winning an Oscar for in the movie Casino. So that was another opportunity lost or squandered.
Well, you didn't get to work with Robin Williams in that one movie. You didn't get to work with Bobby D in that other movie.
Right.
But you did get to work with Arnold Applebox Schwarzenegger.
Yes, I did.
What was that movie? It was called The Last Action Hero or something?
Correct. Yeah.
How was your experience on that? Appleboxes aside.
Right. Fine. I just remember being like, there's a long time of like this hurry and wait vibe. Because, you get to the set, you have to be ready, you get in hair and makeup, and then you wait, 10 hours. Or I'm maybe exaggerating. I used to be the most impatient.
Not much.
Yeah, I was super impatient always. But to me, that just seemed like, oh my gosh, when is this day going to end? And then you go in and you do your little scene, and that doesn't even take that long. And you're like, God, what have I been waiting to do this all day long? So it was like, I went into acting jobs. I went in just audition just like I did any modeling job. Just walk in and said my little line, and my agent called and be like, you booked it. And I'd be like, no way. Like, I just was always surprised because I wasn't trying to be an actress. I kind of just kept getting the audition.
Sure.
Yeah.
Back to Warrant and Cherry Pie.
Okay.
My wife likes to do a thing every year. We call it Cherry Pie July. We have cherry pie just about every day in July.
Nice.
And without fail, whenever she is cutting this cherry pie, she is singing that song.
Oh.
But except she doesn't say she said this, as she's cutting it, she says, this is my cherry pie.
Yeah, I love cherry pie too.
Tell me about the shoot for that video. It was a wild video, and did they almost take your eyelids off?
Yes. So it was a 3-day shoot, very long hours. Like I would get there really early, and I would sometimes not get out until like 1 or 2 in the morning. I remember Jani would walk me to my car, and I'd be like, okay, see you tomorrow. And I remember the director for that shoot, I did not like him. And I ended up telling him that to his face, like many years later when I wrote my second book. He showed up at my book opening and said, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm the one who directed you in Cherry Pie." And I was like, "Oh my God, I hated you." He was like, "Yeah, you did. You did." Well, it was just because he had a lot of ideas that he wanted to try and film. And some of the ideas, I was like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Everything that we're doing already is pretty sexy." Or insinuating sexual.
Especially for those days.
Oh my God.
That was a pretty risque video for that time.
Literally, like Canada wouldn't even show it. It was banned in Canada for being too sexy. So, you saw the stuff that they filmed, but the stuff they wanted to film, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So we argued. I would be annoyed with him and he would take too many takes of something and I would start to get frustrated or impatient. And I'd be like, "Don't you have the shot yet?" Like I was vocal about my frustrations. I was not a cowering mouse anytime when I was in Hollywood. And also I felt like I had to project and also be protective of whatever I could, whatever I had control over. That was kind of in the beginning when I was a little bit stronger. I wasn't completely broken yet by the system. So he and I argued a lot. And the shot you see with the fire hose was a one take wonder because after peeling my eyelids back, I was like, not doing that again. It felt like he was blowing with the water hose my head off. Like it was that much strength or power. It was an actual fire truck water hose. So if you can imagine the power of how much water and how fast that water comes out, I was like so pissed after that first shot. I was just like, I hope you got it because I'm not doing that again. That was insane.
That sounds so dangerous.
It definitely had to be. Like, honestly, it was like taking a beating to the face. Like, I was like, not doing that again. So I feel like that was the last shot of the 3 days.
Yeah, I would imagine that would have pissed you off enough to maybe not come back the next day.
I was so pissed, honestly, but surprised when it came out because of how much I was featured in the video. Normally, I would just be like a blurb here and there on any other video that I had done, maybe a little more with Great White. But this one, I was rivaled or equaled the time of the actual band, which was surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Moving on a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think that these two things exist anymore, but what can you tell me about the Sweet and Sour Hour and the Real Dirt?
That's so funny. So the Sweet and Sour Hour, Charisse and I have always been really good friends.
And who is Charisse?
Charisse Neal was married to Vince Neal.
Okay.
And she was on the show Ex-Wives of Rock with me. So she has been one of my girlfriends ever since I moved to LA. I met her early on, and so we just remained friends. She was always, sweet girl, but like if somebody would come for her, she would throw down.
Gotcha.
But she wasn't easy to provoke. I was. So when we did the Sweet and Sour Hour, I was always sour because if you were looking for a fight, I was always ready to give you one.
So is this a podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a podcast with Charisse and I, and we just would discuss everything, like whatever. But our first 2 episodes started right when The Dirt came out.
The movie The Dirt?
The Dirt. Yeah, we watched the movie. And we made our first 2 podcasts called The Real Dirt on our hot takes of the movie.
Got you.
And held nothing back, obviously, clearly.
You weren't portrayed in that movie, were you?
No, not at all.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So I watched that movie, the first, I want to say 60 seconds of that film.
It's disgusting.
Was almost too much. I had to pause it and be like,
That's a lot.
What the fuck is happening right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was horrific.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, obviously without details, but that movie, was that kind of vibe an accurate depiction of the rock and roll days of those bands in that period?
I wouldn't say those bands because that vibe didn't exist with Warrant. That wasn't happening in Warrant. But Motley Crue, when I got with Tommy, I would say it wasn't really happening at that point in time of their career, but there was no lack of, women trying to
Sure.
come onto the scene with any rock star, even with my own husband, even with Tommy. But like the stuff that they had done before I came into the picture was appalling and shocking. Just hearing the stories, you're just like, wow, okay.
Gotcha.
Let me just say I wasn't surprised by the movie. I
Gotcha.
had heard stories and was just grossed out by them anyway. But you see it in the movie and you're like, ew, God.
So you weren't surprised, but you didn't see any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I wasn't a part of it when it was like that.
Sure. Yeah, good.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Warning. Not listening to Fascination Street Podcast may cause unexpected side effects. Side effects may include sudden fits of boredom, irrational curiosity about everything you missed, the inability to name your favorite podcast interview, spontaneous ignorance of obscure celebrity stories, talking to coworkers about nothing because you didn't hear the latest episode. Other symptoms may include excessive use of the phrase, "Wait, what happened?" Chronic seriousness with no trace of laughter or delight, unexplainable urge to scroll aimlessly instead of being entertained. In rare cases, not listening may lead to wandering aimlessly through podcast apps, overexposure to true crime reruns, and thinking you're cooler than you actually are. If you find yourself experiencing any of these symptoms, stop what you're doing immediately and download Fascination Street Podcast. Ask your podcaster if Fascination Street Podcast is right for you. Spoiler alert, it is.
Let's get back into it.
You so far have written 2 bestsellers. You wrote Dirty Rocker Boys, which I believe Rolling Stone said was number 41 of the 50 best rock memoirs of all time.
Yeah,
Does that book still sell very well?
it does. And the second book I don't promote because they've never paid me a cent for that.
Yes, I was going to ask if you had been paid on that yet, so we're not even going to mention that book.
Nope.
But you are working on a 3rd book. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah,
And is it also a memoir? Is it like part 3 of the memoir?
it is. So it's a continuation. Yeah, it's basically a book that I'm co-writing with my daughter, Taylor Lane. It picks up where the second book kind of leaves off and describes I was stalked and almost killed by a fan.
So all of that is in this 3rd book?
Is going to be in the third book, yes.
Okay, good.
And so it's basically what happened when COVID hit, what happened to me, and what led up to what I had called a divine intervention from God. And that changed the trajectory of my future and everything, my goals, my life, my person, like I'm a new creation, all of it. The stalker stole my identity for 3 years during COVID, and how God used that to bring me to him, basically. Like I never even knew, I believed in God. I just never had a relationship with him. I'd never opened a Bible. Like, the only time I had ever prayed was like in those emergency SOS moments, like, oh, dear God, like I'm about to die.
I'll be a good girl, I promise.
Literally. And so this happened, the stalker, the situation, nothing I threw at it, humanly capable of throwing at the situation, was working. Nothing. No matter how much money, effort, time, people, agency, anything that I did, nothing was changing that. And I kind of got to a breaking point, the lowest point, I guess I would say, in my life, which was crazy that it happened here, is when the Lord met me where I was and revealed himself to me and showed me my entire life and displayed to me where he was in every one of those moments. And immediately when that happened, I started to repent and cry. And like when the Holy Spirit enters you, you can't deny that it's not holy and it's not God. You just can't. So I go into very specific detail of what happened previous to that, and then what that encounter was, what it looked like, how long it lasted, every detail in such vivid description, and then where that led me to be now. So that's what the third book is about. And I'm hoping to be finished with it by December. It's what I would like to see happen, but I don't know.
So the third book is kind of your third act, where it's your Jesus journey and the impact of the Holy Spirit on your life?
Yes.
Would you say that's what the bulk of the book is about? I mean, you'll interject stories about how you got there, but is that really the through line of the book?
It's not really the through line. It's because it starts with COVID and the stalker and the identity theft. It basically breaks it down exactly how I just explained it, but in detail, like every moment my life has been like since that moment.
Gotcha.
How it's changed what, like what I want to do with my own life and stuff. But yeah, it's basically a tale of somebody who didn't even know that they needed Jesus or needed God or even how to interact with him, or that you even could have a relationship with him. It was all I wanted to live for after that happened. After that encounter happened, I was like, wow, like my eyes were opened for the first time in my whole life. I felt more alive than I ever had. And I was shown how loved I was And it was the kind of love I've never even felt in my entire life, even though I'd been loved by millions of people personally and otherwise. The love that I felt in that moment, you could not replicate as a human being. And everything that happened in that moment was so supernatural. It was hard to describe, even though I am going to describe it because it was amazing. But it's not something that you would say happened in the norm, like the breaths I was taking, the love I was feeling, the voices I was hearing, the holiness of the situation, where I could ask a question and it would be answered without even saying a word, just from fluttering eyelids back and forth. And, it lasted like all night long until the morning. And I literally woke up like a different person. It was miraculous, but crazy also as well.
Sure.
People were like, I don't know what's happening with you. They either hated it or they absolutely loved it. But them witnessing it, people that knew me before, see this new me after this encounter, and they're just like either loving it or repelled by it. Like, whoa, that's too much. And I've just been trying to live vigilantly with purpose and intention with everything that I do from this point forward. It's not for me or my glory. It's for God's. And I never had intended on writing a third book. Like that was the last thing I would have ever said like a year ago. And then that happened and I was like, all right, I guess I'm writing another book. Yeah.
Again, this is one of those questions where if you don't want to answer it, don't, and I'll cut it out.
Okay.
I know that at least a couple of times after the tragic loss of Jani, after he passed, he has made himself known to you on a few occasions. Is that right?
After he passed, did he come to me?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does he still?
He has, actually, I would say 3 times this year. It was after something that is personal, but it was a tragic loss in the family. I did get him in a vision 3 different times, and it was amazing. And then the moment he actually passed, he came to me, and I thought it was somebody touching, wiping the tears away from my eyes. And I feel like he was kind of trying to communicate with me, like after he'd passed in ways that you're like, what's happening right now? Like, things fly off the wall and you're like, wait, what? But it never felt demonic or anything. It just felt like, oh, I would just always say, oh, that's just Jani letting me know he's here or whatever. But it wasn't until this past year where he revealed himself to me 3 times after something tragic that happened in the family. And, it's comforting. It's like comforting to know that, he's in heaven. And I know that because that was the last question I asked during my divine encounter, because I was so worried about him or concerned about him and just wanted to know what about, what happened or whatever. And I just was given peace, immediate comfort and peace after asking that question. And then the Lord said, now get some rest, my child. And I went to sleep.
All of that sounds really rough on the heartstrings.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Are you still a 4th grade teacher? Is that a real thing?
So that was a real thing. I know that was a crazy real thing. So I was looking for jobs and I got a call. I had 3 job offers, just normal jobs. Like one was like Trader Joe's, something was like a restaurant hostess. And then I got a call from a friend who's an actual teacher who was like, do you want to be a teacher? And can you come out today to meet the principal? And I was like, wow. Like I told you earlier, I wasn't that much of a scholar. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'll come for the interview, but I brought my dog. I said she had to be there. Like if I was going to teach, I had to have my dog there.
Well, now, hold on. Is this an emotional support dog or something?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, I showed up with all the excuses why they shouldn't hire me.
Yeah.
Like I have a dog. My car's in the shop right now.
I have a dog. My back hurts and I'm not an early morning person.
Right. Yeah. So she was like, oh yeah, well, we'd love to have you, by the end of the day. And I was like, God, I don't know what to do, but I just listened to, that little tinge in my spirit going like, I'm calling you to do this for whatever reason. And I was like, God, I really didn't want to say yes, but I did. So I said yes. I think I was there for like 4 months. I was not a great teacher. I was a lover of the children and I was fun. We would dance things out. Like I would be asked math problems and I had Alexa there with me and I'd have to ask Alexa Like I did my best. So it was at a Christian school. One point, one of my kids came in the morning and said, "My grandma Googled you and you're repulsive," and announced that.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. And I was like mortified and immediately texted grandma like, "Hey, if the Lord can forgive me for my past, and if, we've all been created how we are in God's image and been put in the positions that we're in for his purposes. And if you can't find it in your heart to forgive me, and he can, like, I don't think that you should be imparting that type of information to your grandchildren, because this was a kid who the parent wasn't in the picture. It was the grandparent, and she was a sassy grandma, I will say that. And she just, how you just get one of those parents that they just don't like you because you live.
Sure.
She was looking for reasons to not like me. And same with the principal too. I'm not going to lie. The principal did not like me, but she needed somebody instantly. She made things very difficult for me too. So I just feel like, a couple of people gave me a chance. So everybody who I worked with, and so it was a 2-hall type of building. So all the teachers and all the other kids, it was like from pre-K to 4th in my building. And then it went from 5th to 6th in the other building. And that's where the principal's office was. And they all kind of clicked, and our building kind of clicked. I loved the ladies that I worked with and all the kids in that building. And I really do feel like I was more of a counselor, a friend, someone who would love on you and encourage you and lift you up and tell you the best things about yourself. I wasn't great, like I said, at the teaching part, but like a lot of these kids, I felt like were in difficult situations and had their own troubles at home. And I was a good person to come to for, like, if you needed a hug, or if you needed me to tell you that doesn't matter and this doesn't matter and that person doesn't mean this. Or I was good like that. I loved those kids and I loved on them too. So I don't know if it was just that was meant for me to be there for them for that moment in time. And maybe one of those kids one day is going to go like, I remember that teacher because she encouraged me, or she told me all the good things about myself that I couldn't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so after grandma said I was repulsive, I got fired.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to share what you do now?
I write a book.
Yeah, is that what you're doing right now? Is your focus on the book?
Yes, I'm writing the book. So I'm trying to get back into acting and to commercials.
How far are you away from New Orleans?
I'm not even an hour.
Okay. Huge film and television industry out that way. So you're in the right place.
Yeah, so I have a great manager. I told my testimony in an interview, and they asked me who was representing me. And after, I had my divine encounter, everyone in Hollywood was like, ew, gross.
Sure.
She's Bible thumping right now. I'm like, yuck.
Well, now you're back in the Bible Belt.
Yeah. But I got an agent anyway.
Is it a Louisiana agent?
She's in Texas, but also our agency is in California. But
Gotcha.
They don't have a problem with my direction and who I am as a person, obviously, just for booking acting roles. So
Sure.
Her name is Tanya Renee, and she has a lot of faith in me. And we have a lot of projects that we're working on together that we're pitching, reality show ideas. And I'm doing the book for Dove Books, Dove Publications, which is great, that she's been a part of. And then Bay Ragney, who's been a friend of mine and podcaster for years. I guess we've known each other for like 11 years, he said. I'm like, that's a long time. He does all these cons, I guess, like Comic-Con type situations. And he's like, you would be great at those. And I was like, okay, well, let's do those. And so he's kind of helping me book some of those.
I'm going to pause you right there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, December 6th and 7th in Gonzales, Louisiana is Cajun Con, and Bobbie will be there.
Yeah.
Also, just announced today, I believe, Cult Classic Convention at the Bastrop Convention Center in Bastrop, Texas, March 28 and 29. Bobbie will be there as well. This is the kind of thing, you're not going to be performing or anything. You're going to sit behind a table and sign autographs and tell stories and stuff like that. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Have you done some of these yet?
I did hosting at M3. Like, there's been some rock shows where I was hosting where we would do a type of merch table. Mm-hmm. And I would do that at some rock shows, and I've done that this past year as well. But I've never specifically done the cons, but I would always do them at a rock show or whatever. So this would be kind of my first Comic-Con, I guess.
Yeah.
in Cajun country. So that'll be
Sure.
my first experience really with like a type of Comic-Con situation.
I just call them all nerd cons. You know, it's for all the things. It's either comic book nerds, it's Star Wars nerds,
Yeah.
it's Star Trek nerds,
Yeah.
it's rock nerds.
Yeah.
They're all just nerd cons. Yeah.
Cool. I'll fit right in.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with nerds. Nerds rule the world.
Yeah.
One thing we briefly touched on or mentioned, but I just want everybody to know that there was a reality show called The Ex-Wives of Rock. How many seasons was it?
4.
4. And it was you and...
Athena Bass, who is Tommy's sister and was married to James Kotak, the drummer of the Scorpions, Therese Neal, who was married to Vince Neil, and Susan Blue Ashley, who was married to the bass player of Warrant, and then me, who was married to Jani. We all connected and met through all of those relationships and remained friends in spite of the breakups.
Sure.
It was really our lives about, our friendship, the camaraderie still between all of us girls and what we were doing in that current day and time.
Do you know if it's available anywhere currently?
Yeah, you can see all the seasons on YouTube even. So
Oh, wow.
YouTube has first and second season. The third season was comprised of 26 episodes. I think the first 2 seasons had 16 episodes or something.
Gotcha.
Or 18. I don't remember. That was like in 2014. But yes, you can see all of the episodes on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you recommend it?
Absolutely. It was a great show. It was non-scripted. It was nominated for an award in Canada.
Oh, cool. They're finally putting you on the airwaves in Canada. That's good.
Right. Yeah, I was welcome that time. It was a great show. It was edited brilliantly. It was entertaining. It was emotional. It was legit. It was real. They didn't tell us, okay, act like this or say like that. We were just also crazy in our own lives as it was. Like, I don't know that I would watch it personally because there's a lot of stuff that I'm embarrassed about, kind of, like guy choices and dumb things like that. But it was a very good show. Like, I think people who watch it would go like, I can't stop watching it. It's so good. I still think there would be an audience for that. Like, we're 10 years out from that being a thing. Like, a reunion would probably be great. I would totally do a reunion. That would be awesome.
Are you still friends with the other ladies?
I am still friends with the other ladies. There's one of the ladies that I always had trouble with on the show, which is Susan Blue. She and I had like a final falling out, I would say, maybe right before COVID. And like, I haven't talked to her since. She's tried to reach out to me, but I just don't respond because, you go through certain situations with people and you're like, is it always going to be like this? Like,
yeah. All
right, so I'm done trying. I forgive you. I love you. I'll always have love in my heart for you. But do I want you in my space anymore? Do I want to give you any time and space anymore? No, like it's too much. So yeah, I haven't talked to her, but yes, I am still really good friends with Athena and Charisse.
Nice.
Yeah.
With this little bit of downtime that you might have before you start doing the con circuit and the book tours.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing another podcast?
I had like Taylor and I started one.
And this is your daughter, right?
Yeah, Taylor. We had one called Southern Fried. It was in the beginning of COVID and we did a lot of episodes and they were pretty racy and crazy and just shows the dynamic between me and my own daughter and how we talk to each other and what we think is funny. And what we think is funny is really what I thought was funny and antagonistic as she was a child and my brother. So me and my brother and my daughter had the same sense of humor, but it traumatized them when I did it to them as children. So my brother's 8 years younger than me. However, now we can totally be doing a bit between the three of us without even revealing that it's a bit and literally drive everyone in the room absolutely nuts. I think it's hilarious and we all think it's hilarious, but does everyone love it? It's not for everyone. No. Like my mom ends up going like, yo, get out of here. You're so annoying. And I think it's wildly hilarious. And so does my daughter and so does my brother. But, it's an acquired type of sense of humor, but it is antagonistic.
So is there a chance that you would consider doing a podcast again?
I would. I absolutely think I would.
What would it take to make that happen? Like, why don't you just do it? Like, what are you doing today? You guys still got daylight left.
Yeah, I don't know what it would take. Maybe, I would be interested if somebody wanted to produce that. I'm sure my daughter would love to get back on the mic with me again because I'm really trying to do something with her. I'm trying to do everything with her, really, because she's hilarious and people need to know that. She's just, if I ever even thought I was funny, this girl has me over a barrel in shades times 12s. Like, she's so funny.
I love it. Well, I, for one, will keep my ears peeled for a new Bobbie Brown podcast. That would be rad as heck.
Thanks.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media? The real you, the actual you, not the you that has been compromised, but the real you.
Exactly. So you can find me on Instagram at Bobbie Brown, BOBBIEBROWN, and BobbieJeanBrown.3 on Facebook, and on X, I'm Bobbie Jean Brown, and all other streaming platforms at Bobbie Jean Brown.
Okay. So the listeners know it's because your stalker that you write about in the book and your identity thief that you write in the book, she kind of stole all your social media handles and emails and stuff.
Yes, she took them over as me.
That is so wild.
Pretended to be me, acquired every royalty and every dime that I've ever made in any capacity up to that point as Bobbie Brown, even collected unemployment during COVID as me, to the point where I had to go to court twice with my birth certificate to prove it was me, but they don't ever give you back all the money that was stolen. They just go like, okay, cool, it's you. Great. So every dime that I ever made for myself as Bobbie Brown was stolen, and even my websites and personal, even the ones with the check marks, even the verified ones were compromised.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So listeners, Streetwalkers, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that third book, because she does tell that story. And guys, there's guns and police involved, and not in the ways that you might think. It's a crazy story. Do you know the name of that third book?
I'm working on a title.
Is it going to be called Fascination? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Funny. The title's changed a couple times, but I'm still working on a title. So I have a working title that I haven't really landed on yet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Everybody just keep your eyes peeled to all of Bobbie's social media handles, because I'm sure that's where those announcements will be made.
Absolutely.
Is there a place where people can go to find out what your con and touring schedule is going to be like?
I will always promote those on my social media. So if anybody follows me socially, I'll be promoting those at all times.
Fantastic. Everybody go check those out. Again, it's a Bobbie Brown in some places and Bobbie Jean Brown everywhere else.
At Brown Bobbie and at Bobbie Jean Brown.
Brown Bobbie? Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Bobbie, as we're heading out here, is there anything we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about that you specifically wanted to talk about today? Like, did we cover the big bits?
No, I think we did it, Steve.
Well, oh my gosh. Bobbie Brown, the legend. This was so much fun. I appreciate you. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day on your hectic writing more memoirs schedule to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm so glad to talk to you.
It was 100% my pleasure, and you have a great rest of your week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Opening music is the song FSP Theme, written, performed, and provided by Ambush Vin. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend, subscribe, and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.